What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to teach you about a four-step process, 1, 2, 3, 4. Possibly I'll give you a little bonus tip at the end. But I'm going to teach you about a four-step process on how I bought houses when I was $100,000 in debt using time and not money to generate motivated seller leads. When it comes to generating motivated seller leads into your office, it has to be either done through time, through money, or a combination of both. So how are you generating leads into your office right now for your house buying business? If you don't have any money, guys, it is okay. You can use time to grow a business because time turns into everything. Money, relationships, and opportunities, and a business. So let's talk about how to do this, guys. Let me give you the first step on how to get this up and going. My four-step process on how to generate leads for your house buying business without spending money. Now here's how we get this up and going, guys. We need to get on as many buyers lists as we possibly can. Go to your local REI clubs. Ask the REI club owner, who are the biggest wholesalers in the marketplace? Are there any wholesalers here? Get on their buyers list. Go to Google, type in local wholesalers, wholesale companies in your city or in your state, get on those buyers lists. Go to Craigslist. You can find anybody putting out leads for wholesale properties and get on their buyers list. Ask other investors in local Facebook groups. Find as many ways as you can to get on at least 10 big buyers lists. This is the most important part of this process. So build a database of buyers yourself, but also get on as many buyers lists as possible. Most people do the first one, but not the second one. And it's going to make sense as we go through this. But step number one is get on as many buyers lists as you can. And make sure you put a separate email out there or a way that you can see all these leads coming in so they're all in one area. Sometimes I do this with an individual email just for the buyers list that we get on so that my assistants aren't confused and it's not coming through all my other lists. So the first thing is get on as many buyers lists as possible. Let's go on to number two. Now we're on these buyers lists. What would be number two? Let's track every lead as it comes through the system. We can do this pen and paper if you're getting up and going. That's how I did it. If you want to use something simple like Excel, 100% okay. Or if you have a little bit of money, guys, you can use a CRM or database management system if you have one in your business. Now, why we're tracking every single lead may be confusing to you because we all understand building a buyer's list for ourselves, getting people on our buyer's list for all sorts of reasons. But very few people actually get on other people's buyer's lists because they think, if I'm not actually trying to buy a house from that company, why would I need to get on their buyer's list? So if you're a wholesaler, why would I get on someone else's buyer's list? If I'm only buying houses direct to the seller, why would I get on someone else's buyer's list? It doesn't make sense, does it? Until you understand that that buyer's list is a lead generation system for you because they don't sell all those properties. Now think about this real quick. When a wholesale deal comes to your office, what does that mean? Read between the lines. It means an investor in your area, someone out there found a house with their efforts, their dollars, and their stress to get under contract, but they gave you information and data. A person in the marketplace with their hand raised saying, I'm willing to sell my house at a wholesale price closely where it needs to be bought for an investor to make a profit buying this house. Now, what is important to understand about this is not every deal that comes through your email box is going to make it to the finish line. Now, think about this real quick. Maybe 1,000 deals comes through your office. You get on all these buyers lists, 1,000 come through the system. Think about how many times you see a price reduction. Think about how many times you see those houses just kind of go back on the market. Out of 1,000, out of curiosity, how many of you guys think would actually get sold? I really don't know what the truth is. If you have an opinion, put it in the comment box below. I'm just curious to see what you guys think. Is it 10% out of 1,000, 25, 50%? I guarantee you that it's not all of them. So even if it's 10% and you have 1,000 deals come to the office, what does that mean? It means 100 of those are going to get terminated and go right back to that seller. Now, what does that mean? Have you ever been a motivated seller? When are you most likely to come off a price? When you just had someone back off on you and terminate a contract. So keep this in mind, guys. These are leads coming to you that some will go back on the market with a motivated seller who was motivated before, who's even more motivated now, if that makes sense. So let's go into number three. Now, all these leads are coming in the system, so which ones do we take the time to go after? We can't go after all of them. So let's go after the highest and best use leads. We have no money, time is limited, so let's make sure we use it well and go after the ones that we have the best chance of getting. So here's what we're gonna do. Read between the lines. If 1,000 deals are sent to you, meaning you open up your email box, all these wholesalers are sending leads to you. Usually they want one price, but what if they can't sell it? Let's say they shoot at $300,000. Well, what happens if 5 days later it comes back at $285,000? You see that big red email line, price reduction. What that means is, reading between the lines, that wholesaler wanted to get this high price point, $300,000. They sent it out, there's no demand for it, they put it out there in front of their entire buyers list. Could be tens of thousands of people. If nobody wants it, it's overpriced. So what they did, instead of just letting it go, is they reduced the price, hoping to sell it at a lower price right before they terminate the option contract. So now it comes out at $285. If there's still no demand, guess what happens now? They didn't sell it. They run out of an option window. So usually if a wholesaler has between 7 and 14 days, sometimes longer, sometimes a little bit less. But once they run out of that option window, if they're not going to close on themselves, they have to terminate that contract and that property is going to go back to the seller. So would it make sense to track the price reductions? As soon as the price reduction happens, why don't you put it on your list? So you're tracking all the leads that come into the email from all these wholesalers. Once the price reduction comes out, that's the ones you want to look at and the ones you want to go after. Now let's talk about number 4 and how to go after them. Now, depending on who you ask, what type of company they're running, and where they live in the country, it can be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 for marketing expenses to get a house under contract to the finish line where they can close it. So think about the costs that you're going to have using this strategy. They've already spent that $5,000 to $10,000 to get this contract to where it can be bought from you at this moment. So what is your expense into this? Your time up into this moment, and then what you're going to do to get to that homeowner. Lots of different things you can use. Direct to mail postcard. You can send them a postcard. 30 to 50 cents depending on what you're sending. Could be a yellow letter. You could skip trace them and cold call them. You could go knock on their door. Some people are using social media strategies to track them down and find them on social media for free. Now the point is, instead of wasting all this money up front with a shotgun strategy, putting a ton of marketing out in the marketplace, you're using a free strategy with your time, tracking other leads that come through the system, tracking the ones that are most likely to go back to the homeowner, never intervening between that current seller and that investor that has it under contract. We're not trying to break up a contract at all, guys. We're trying to be first in line by mailing that house so that if the termination comes through, they get that postcard when they're frustrated as a motivated seller when the last buyer just backed out, if that makes sense. So we're trying to time it right. So these strategies, from direct mail to cold calling to door knocking, are literally dollars or less by going after targeted leads. So if you have no money, this is one of the things I did to get my business off the ground. I tracked other leads that other people found at their own dollar expense. I tracked the ones that were most likely to go off, meaning not get to the finish line, and they'd have to terminate it and go back to the homeowner. And then I marketed to them in very inexpensive ways that were very targeted to specific ones that gave me the highest and best chance to get the house under contract. And that's how I got some of the deals that got me out of debt. Now I'm gonna leave you with a bonus tip. Go out there and do this, guys. As these leads come through the system, you'll notice different wholesale companies are sending more deals than others out. The ones that send the most deals, try to figure out what their average option length window is. Is it 5 days? Is it 7 days? Is it 10 days? Is it 14 days? Is it 30 days? Once you know, because a number of reasons, the homeowner that you talked to after them told you how long it was, you've seen their contract by doing a deal with them, all sorts of different reasons. You ask them, how long do I have to do this? When's the close date? Basically, if you call them and figure out how many days you have to close, they're kind of going to tell you what their option window is. If you can find out this information, most companies stay on a pattern, meaning they do the same thing over and over and over, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, 30 days, 30 days, 30 days, whatever it is. Once you have the timing of their option length window, that basically lets you know when they have to sell the property by or when it goes back to the homeowner. This is valuable information for the timing of when you market to them. I hope you learned something in today's video, guys. I have another video coming out here soon. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, guys. Appreciate it if you do. See you on the next one.